community to Cal Expo and stretch out Cal Expo to our community. We're very lucky to have the Republic soccer team, which was our first dream, and now being able to stretch out and to have our another major league team, Pro Rugby, be an anchor tenant of Cal Expo and Bonney Field. We're very excited about it. It's very important to us to make sure that we continue to bring quality entertainment to Cal Expo to benefit the community at large with our kids. And I'm proud to be able to sit here on this wonderful turf. Doesn't the lawn look good? It's an amazing, beautiful day. And I welcome Douglas to our home and our family.
Well, once again, welcome back to your California State Fair here at Cal Expo. Rick Pickering, CEO of our operations here. We are a state agency that receives no financial support from the state, the city, or the county. So we're challenged to go out and function like a private business within all the trappings that follow you as a state agency. However, our mission statement is to do that in such a way that we bring recognition to the people of California. So we serve as a showcase, as a platform for the talent, the achievements, and the interest of the people of California. Without a doubt, professional sports has been part of our history as well as part of our future. We are the oldest professional sports facility operating in the Sacramento region, and that we conduct thoroughbred racing as well as harness racing on a year-round basis. Happy to be home to the new USL Pro Sacremento team who won the national championship their very first year in existence here at Bonney Field, and now I've had the opportunity to bring another entirely new level of professional sports with the national professional rugby organizations coming here to Sacramento and continuing to build upon that concept of competition. We believe that competition showcases the best and the brightest. It brings out healthy living styles, healthy choices, and we look forward to this relationship with professional rugby and building on the success of the international rugby games that have been here over the last 2 years. We believe that was a major building block in bringing in USO Pro Rugby to Sacramento. Doug?
Absolutely. It's a funny story. When we pro-formed building out Pro Rugby, we limited initially to just 6 teams, just based on the availability of players and the level of quality players we think we can present our first year. So Sacramento wasn't on my personal radar until I came out to the Eagle-Japanese game in July of last year. And when I came here, I said we have to include Sacramento. This is clearly, and the reason you're first is because you clearly represent our values. What we're trying to do with rugby is we're trying to Americanize it for American audience. There's nothing more American than this place, particularly the day I saw it when the Ferris wheel's in the back, it was lit up, it was probably 7/8 full, everyone was having a great time, and it was really, really unique. Trust me, I've been to a lot of venues in a lot of places, and this is probably singularly the most special one I've been to. Not to badmouth the other ones, of course, but
We think we're special too.
I know, but I don't know if they're going to think you're as special as you do. But no, and as I keep telling everyone, if I had 20 of these particular venues, it would make my life a lot easier. So we are very, very happy and fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to play here and to announce our first team here and start this exciting journey that will go on for many, many years as rugby is built into the culture of America. And like I said, not a better place to start than here, because this is really how our vision of rugby is developed, from this kind of venue in America.
Okay.
Questions?
Do we have questions?
Doug, can you talk about the league? You mentioned there's going to be 6 teams. Are you looking for other small markets? Are you going to be in other big markets?
Most of the markets are bigger. This is arguably the smallest market. We're trying to give a diversity of, like I said, initially this wasn't on the radar because we looked at bigger markets which are more attractive to bigger sponsors. But having said that, we're playing at very large venues, we're playing at very small venues. This one venue probably fits right in the middle of where we're playing at. So, we're looking for a diverse mix, so we understand how to move forward, and also, trying to be authentic to the venue we're at, the city we're at, which are all very different.
other than the Ferris wheel and the amenities here, what makes Sacramento a good rugby market?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're leading that question, but obviously the foundation of rugby here is very large, right? And there is a history of club rugby here. There's a history of, obviously, in Northern California of rugby, as well as there's a history in this particular venue of very successful rugby events. It's funny, last year when Japan played USA, just a couple of days before they played in San Jose at a new venue, and a lot of people was concerned within USA Rugby that this event wouldn't do that well because everyone would prefer to go to the new, see that new arena, see the new venue, and also it was the first game. And it did very, very well, and that speaks to the local. Most of those people, from what I understand, were local, and they came from the local, area, which spoke very, very well to what we think will be a big support for us as well.
Other questions? Yep.
Given right now that the Kings are, of course, moving into a new arena, the Republic is looking to go to the Major League Soccer, and there's a successful minor league baseball team here, do you have worry about the sports dollar getting sliced a bit too thin, whether or not there'll be room for rugby too?
No, I don't actually. I think every sport serves its, as a piece of the pie, and every sport comes at the presentation in a very different way. We'll present our rugby, and very much we're leading our rugby presentation to the non-rugby follower right now with the great ethos of the game and the great values of the game. It's something that is an alternative to some of the presentations out there. I actually think, sports is just becoming bigger and bigger, as everyone knows. A lot of the larger sports are being eroded slightly as sports tend to start to segregate, whether it's rugby or ice climbing or bicycling. You're seeing a lot more viewership in the non-traditional sports. So we'll obviously benefit from that trend as well.
Can you talk more about the challenge of growing a fan base? It's one thing to have a one-time event, it's another thing to have a consistent, steady attendance. How do you grow that audience? How do you develop that?
Well, it's an interesting question. So obviously, most of the rugby in America this far has been, other than at club level, has been event, right? It's very different activation to build a fan base on events than it is in the league. Arguably, it's harder to build a fan base for events, right? So you don't have any follow through. You don't have any of that ownership that we're going to give to the local teams. As an example, and I don't want to get into too many specifics because though they're all decided, we don't want to give people too much information at once because it's a little bit overwhelming. So some of the people, we've been thinking about professional rugby in America for 10 years plus, right? So a lot of people have a lot of notions of how it should go, and so it's a little bit of a learning curve for everyone, and that's how we're presenting it. But one of the examples is we're first year, and we're going to announce probably sometime after the first year, a competition to both name and design the logo for each individual team. Each team will be, by the league, will be assigned a color. And that's the only thing we're going to do, other than also supervise the competition. And hopefully the local market will bring their ownership, bring their love for the game, and really in this inaugural year, which it very much is, we're going to ask those supporters who've been supporting rugby for so long to contribute to the branding of it. And that's part of the process. And it very much is a journey, right? If I wanted to put on the best rugby in the world, I could do that, right? It wouldn't be with American players mostly. But that's not our mandate. The mandate that I have with USA Rugby is that we could grow the game here domestically. Now, sure, there'll be some international players because we need to support the game initially, but the mandate is to grow here. So in mind, the ownership of the local people will make or break these franchises without question. And I think when the rugby people will embrace it, I'm confident. And I think when the non-rugby world understands the game, they'll really embrace it.
But you also have the advantage of this facility hosts more than 3 million customers every year. So we already are well known. We already have the infrastructure in place. We have a Facebook page that has 160,000 folks plus that like us. So the opportunity to create synergy for people that are already coming here, as simple as Raging Waters Water Park behind you, when they open and run May through September, you'll see young people and adults on top of these big water slides looking down into this facility and seeing information about rugby. You'll see information about rugby on our website, just as you can go to our website and find out information about Sacremento Public. So to already have that kind of built-in exposure to a new market, so to not have, yes, we need to get people excited about rugby. There are so many clubs in this area. When the international teams played here during the last fair, clubs from all over Northern California gathered to come and watch those two games, to see Samoa play Fiji and the U.S. play Japan. But the enthusiasm of their fans were phenomenal. So the opportunity for all those local and regional clubs to come here, they know how to get here, they know how to park, they know what hotel they want to stay in, they know where they want to have a craft brew beer or a glass of wine or something else. So we bring an exposed market already in a very unique environment where when you go build a facility somewhere else, you don't always have that. In Sacramento, we have, like Sophia's right behind you here with the Sacramento Sports Commission, and it has all sorts of data on the enthusiasm of top-level sports as well as youth sports that are coming here. So when you look at U.S. track and field, the U.S. senior golf tournament, some folks, I think the implication was the Sacramento already saturated. Absolutely not. The region continues to grow, and people coming to this region are moving out of the Bay Area, which already has how many professional level teams in a variety of sports. They're coming here looking for a lifestyle that includes pro sports.
And as Spectra, working here at Cal Expo for the past 22, 23 years, we find it to be our responsibility to accent what Rick is talking about, and being able to cross over the multitude of cultures that come to this facility, whether it be a horse show, horse racing, auto shows, soccer, state fair, blending those together and trying to put a cohesive rhythm through all of them is our purpose, and something that we feel dedicated to do, as well as the 4-H and the FFA, the kids that come to this facility, being able to cross over and to see something that they may never see before. It's our job, it's our mission, and with that, with Douglas, being able to, when he says we're a smaller market, we are, but this is probably one of the largest smaller markets in the world, and we're proud to be part of this, and we're proud to bring to Sacramento what some people would think never could happen.
There have been a couple of false starts with pro rugby in the last 20 years. What makes pro rugby different?
Basically, the simple version is that the false starts were really not, they were not really false starts, they were non-starts. We're the only league so far that's been sanctioned by World Rugby, by USA Rugby. It's very much part of the world rugby world. Everyone from Australia, from New Zealand, from France, from England, they're all reaching out with, either help and assistance or with just ideas and just support. That's never happened before, not even once.
Will there be a player draft?
There will be a player draft. We're going to announce that, the whole scenario of that and how it will work sometime in January. Coaches will be all on board by the end of the year, and obviously the coaches will be they'll be the organizing group of the draft, but we are very much intending to engage the fans and our initial inaugural supporters in that draft.
I know you don't want to talk about the business model too much, but I guess I'm wondering where you see this fitting into the spectrum of rugby, and how many of those American players playing overseas are likely to come back and want to play here.
It's a good question. I think there will be a number of them that will come back. I think a lot of people are there not only for the dollars, but just because of the opportunity to play professionals rugby, and which didn't exist here. I think there's a couple that won't come back, but there's a lot of them will come back. A lot of them from this area, actually. So, and that would be great, for them to have experienced 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years overseas and then come back and teach our domestic players some of that stuff is just a great opportunity to grow the game here.
Is the style of the game will be played according to the regular law book of the amateur game, or will it be professionalized in a way to make rugby more entertaining or flashy?
Well, I mean, the rules of rugby are the rules of rugby, and we are a professional league, and we will play under the same rules and regs that every professional league plays worldwide. However, on that note, we are an American league, and we're going to present it in a slightly different way, hopefully a more American way, without being too specific. And a lot of it will be trial and error. Some things we do will work, some things we do will probably won't work. And the idea is to try and continue the things that work and to change the things that don't work, obviously, but to change that presentation. I mean, I like to think of a little bit the way the ABA and the NBA had that synergy. You know, they weren't friends, but they benefit from each other's presence. And a lot of the greatest parts of the NBA dialogue now were founded in the ABA. So, you know, we're very much that. We have an opportunity of a clean slate in America for most of Americans, so we can present this game slightly differently. And I think, you know, once again, this is a sport. It's not an entertainment, but it's hopefully a sport that's entertaining, and not an entertainment company that happens to be in sports.
Any other questions?
Can we just get their names? I don't know.
Sure.